So in last week's episode of Sound Architect, I basically taught you guys a complete beginner's walkthrough of how to use GarageBand for beginners. This week I'm going to be doing the exact same thing, except I'm going to be showing you guys how to use GarageBand on iOS for complete beginners. A complete walkthrough coming right up. Let's go. So what is up, everybody? I am Legend, and welcome to the next episode of Sound Architect, the series where I show you guys how to create, manage, and improve your music here online. A day late, got a lot going on. You'll see that in the vlog. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do when you open up GarageBand on your iPhone, basically it's going to ask you if you want to create a new song, because I don't think you'll have this menu right here. This menu basically is showing all the songs that I've already made, but you're going to go ahead and push this plus button in the top right corner. You guys see right there. I'm going to go ahead and push that. Now it shows you a bunch of different options you can choose from to start your track. There's a keyboard, drums, an amp for guitars, audio recorder for the voice, strings, bass, guitar, world, drummer, external instruments, and then sound library where you can download new sounds and all that stuff. So we're just going to go ahead and just pick anything so I can get into the actual track itself. So we're just going to select keyboard, I don't know, smart piano. Once you do that, it's going to basically, depending on what instrument you select, it's going to come to this menu right here where it shows the instrument or the drum pads or whatever you picked. I'm going to go ahead and show you what all these buttons and everything does. So I'm going to go to the main menu here, the main workstation, and I'm going to basically click this button on the left side of the screen. So it's got a bunch of bars next to a bunch of squares. And now it turned into piano. You see it right there. This is our main workstation, our work area right here. It's basically kind of got the same design as GarageBand for desktop, except it's a mobile version. So we'll start from the top left and then go all the way to the right so you guys can see everything that's in there. So the top left, we have a down button right here. If you select that, that basically goes back to all of your pre-saved songs, the songs, your projects, everything that you have already saved. Once you click that button, if you have already started making a track, once you click the My Songs, it'll automatically save. So that is how you save your tracks on GarageBand. You don't have to click a save button or anything like that. You just start recording something and then go to My Songs and it'll automatically save this song right here. So don't worry about the save unless you haven't started a track, then it won't save it, to my knowledge. The button next to that, I'm gonna go ahead and click. It's got 3 squares in it, you know, 2 small ones and a big one in the middle. And basically what this is it takes you right back to the instruments screen, the track screen. So let's say if I wanted to add drums, I could just go here, select more sounds because I want to get these 808 drums. Now when you go in here, for instance, you have all different kinds of presets that you can use, packs, different sound libraries and things like that. So like for instance, I selected the drum one and then it took me to the songwriter drummers. Got the Liverpool, got Scientific Method, got Sunset. These are different drumming styles and drumming sounds. Or you can go to Flex and Flow. This has got a lot of drum pads like 808 Flex, Hybrid Knock, Interchange, Live Feel, Retro Box. These are all drum machine type things. So it's going to be a drum machine when you select it. I typically like to do this for my stuff since I'm used to having a drum pad over here. It's easy for me to play out. You see at the top here it says Get More Drum Kits. When you click that, it'll take you to that sound library where you can download more free drum kits, and those will appear on the left hand side here. Songwriter, drummers, Flex and Flow, all that stuff. So that's how you get more kits, but we're just going to go ahead and select one, and you'll see here this is where all the pads are. It'll look different depending on what instrument you select. If you select live drums, I think a live drum set actually does pop up. So that's that. So if you want to go ahead and get back to the main workflow screen, you just select this button right here with the 3 bars and it'll take you back to the main workflow like that. And there you have it. Okay, so now we have a piano, we have our drum machine, and if you notice that same button that was a piano earlier, the 3rd button to the right from the left, it changes depending on which track you're selected on. So if you select the drum pads, it'll change to a drum. If you select the piano, it'll change to a piano, or if it's any kind of key instrument. If there's a guitar there and you select that, it'll change to a guitar. So that lets you know automatically what sound you're already on. And so let's say, for instance, I pick this drum pad. If I press the drum, it'll take me to the drum menu. And I press it again, it'll take me back to the main workflow. If I press the piano, it turns into a piano, and it takes me to that piano menu so that I can play the instrument, record it, and then go back to the main menu. So now next to the piano keys, you have three more vertical lines that are like levels. So if you click on that, you'll basically get your track settings. So in this case, it's a classical grand. You got the track settings. You can click that. You can click to quantize, which basically means to set it. If like you're a little bit off beat when you're playing an instrument, you can set it to where it gets on beat automatically. You can transpose this if you want, which basically transpose means it changes the key up or down depending on what you want to do. And then the recording itself, merge recordings, I don't really mess around with that too much, but you can explore that if you want to. If we go back to track settings, we have our track volume, we have our track pan. Now this is something that I always talk about in all of my vocal recording videos, especially when doing harmonies and things like that. You want to pan the vocals when you're doing stacks so that it gets a more full sound. So that's where you find that feature right here, the pan, the left or right. The volume, you obviously know what the volume is. The speaker button with the line through it, that is a mute button. So if you want to mute this track, you just click that, it won't play anymore. If you want to solo this track to where that is the only track that you hear without having to go through and mute every single instrument, you just click this headphones and that'll only play the track you're currently on. Right below that, we have our plugins and SEO. Now this is where you're going to find the similar features to GarageBand for macOS, like I teach about, which is the compressor, the treble, the bass, all the like the EQ that you see on GarageBand for macOS. This is where you'll get it here. Now it is a little bit more limited in GarageBand for iOS, but then you can also go into the visual EQ, which is much like the visual EQ in GarageBand for macOS. So this is a little bit familiar in case you want to mess with the visual EQ. Right below plugins and SEO, you have your master effects. So this is going to be basic stuff like echo, reverb, and whatever else you choose to add to it. I think you can go in here, change the type of echo that you have. So we have an ambient delay, a dance echo, endless loop, just random like pre-designed things that they have already in the app that you can choose from. The reverb as well has the same type of stuff, and these are kind of like similar echoes and reverbs found in the GarageBand for Mac OS. Go back here, and that is it for the track settings. Now if you want to get out of this menu, you just tap that levels once again and it'll take you back to the workflow. It'll move that to the side. Next to that, you have the effects. So these are the effects. Basically this particular part of the app is where you're going to get cool features like low pass filters, high pass filters, changing the cutoff and the resonance. You see these two boxes to the left and the right. Basically, when you're playing something, you'll get to edit your track live and add some cool effects to it while it's playing live, and I'll show you what that sounds like. So this is a song I actually made on this channel a while ago, but I'm gonna show you what this FX thing does. So let's say I'm recording and I move my finger on the resonance and the cutoff. Watch. See that? So the left side is going to be the filter. That's going to be where you change, like you get that more of a, you know, it goes through a low pass and it gets more muted and muffled and feels like this, and then it comes back out and it's more full again. So that's what the left hand side does, and basically depending on where you move your finger, that's what's going to cause the sound to change, which I think is really dope. You can also choose to lock it here by clicking the lock button, and then the left side is the repeater. So it's a repeater basically. So if I'm playing this song and I choose to use the repeater, it's gonna sound like this. Wait. So basically it's repeating a certain part of the track. So the more to the right that you put your finger, the faster it's going to do the repeat. The more to the left, the slower it's going to do. So if you're using an iPhone that has 3D touch, you're going to have a feature like where if you force touch your phone, like push down harder on the screen, it's going to cause an effect that sounds like a record stopping, which is really, really dope. I'm gonna go ahead in here and show you what that sounds like. So if I play this, mess with the filter a little bit. Watch this. Because I pressed harder on it. So that's what it sounds like, which is pretty cool. Then we have these two vertical ovals right inside of those two boxes that are on the outside. Now this is going to affect the track in terms of, I'll show you on the left side first what this one does. It's hard for me to explain. So you see how it makes it more choppy. So that's why it's got these lines where it's like it's very choppy. The squiggly line on the other side is kind of like a distortion. So it adds like this really funky sci-fi alien sound to the whole thing. So if I'm playing, so you see how it works. And then probably the number one thing that I'm asked on my last GarageBand for iOS video is, how do I import my own songs? How do I import songs that I downloaded from YouTube? Can I already import songs that are already made? I don't have to make a beat in GarageBand for iOS. Yes, you can do that. So if you look on the top right, there's going to be a loop symbol right here next to the wrench. It's a loop importer. So you click that, and usually it takes you to this Apple loops section where you import loops that they designed and created themselves for you to use for free, to download and all that stuff. If you want to like make a beat, but you don't want to make the entire beat yourself, you can play different loops that they already have. But what you can also do is use this menu, because like I said in my last video, GarageBand for macOS and GarageBand for iOS are different in the way that they import songs. It's all through this loop. So you click the loop, and if you want to import your own song, make sure your song is stored natively on your phone's hard drive. You can't use songs that are in iCloud. You can't use songs that are not downloaded or purchased on your phone, because it's going to be protected. They have to be songs stored directly on your phone's hard drive. And the different ways you can do that is either import it, like if you have iTunes, make sure that you put the song in your iTunes on your actual Mac, and then make sure that you have iCloud music library selected, so that when your songs appear on your iTunes on your computer, it'll automatically appear on your iTunes in your phone. And then you just make sure that you click the download button so that it downloads to your phone. That's one way to do it. The other way is to airdrop it from your computer to your files in your iPhone. So I highly recommend to do the iCloud music library, because it's been the easiest for me. So the way that you would do that is you would come over to music, and basically it's like your iTunes right here. You can either just search for it, or if you have a playlist, albums, whatever it may be, you can do it through there. I'm just gonna search for Legend, and as you can see, my stuff does come up. Pick the one that you want to import. So I'm just gonna go ahead and import Cheat Codes, which is one of my songs for my new album. You can preview it. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you guys, because you need to wait until it comes out. And you would do basically like exactly how you do on your GarageBand for macOS. You just click and hold, and then drag it over to the program itself, and you import it. You drag it all the way down to the bottom and import it as its own file. And you guys will hear that the song has been imported into this project, which is pretty dope, I think. So right next to the loop, we have a wrench, and basically this is going to be your settings of your particular project. So that's going to be everything from your metronome count in, to your tempo, to your time signature, to your key signature, which is very important for Autotune. I actually didn't know that this was a feature built into GarageBand for iOS until I recorded this video. So make sure before you record your vocals that you set the key of the song before you do that. Very powerful. You got your fade out, your notepad if you want to make notes like in GarageBand for iOS, jam session, and advanced. We're not going to talk about those two. And then the final button is this little tiny plus on the far left next to the wrench. If you click that, it's basically going to add on a different section to the song. Basically, when you come to the point where you don't just want to have this loop, or you want to make your loops longer, or you want to like start to build out the rest of your song, we're going to make this section B into, let's just call it another 16 bars. So this is good if you want to kind of lay out your song in terms of chorus, verse, bridge, things like that. You can actually do that here. Section A can be the first verse, section B can be the chorus. So you can change the bars, like the 8-bar chorus, a 16-bar verse, things like that. You will basically just add here. And once you're here in this menu, so right now I think I'm in section C. If I just take my finger and slide it over to the right, it'll take me to section B. This is going to be whatever I made section B. And then if I want to go back to the very beginning, I just slide it over again to section A, and we're back to the very beginning of the project. So that's basically GarageBand for iOS in a nutshell, for beginners, all the knobs and tools and tips and tricks and all that stuff. If you guys want to see a more in-depth tutorial on how to make a full song in GarageBand, I do have a video on that you can watch here. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I appreciate you. I appreciate this guy or girl or human right here who left this comment and subscribed. Honestly, it does mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate my patrons. Even though there's just 2 of them, they're my ride or dies, and I eternally grateful for what they provide for me. Even though it's just like a 20 bucks a month total, every little bit helps. It's a very stressful time, it's a very annoying time, it's a very busy time. Yeah, it means a lot. I hope you guys learned something from this. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you can be sure you are notified every time I upload a brand new video. As always, stay legendary. I'll see you next week, guys.